I didn't mean to look. Truly, I didn't. But that morning, when I stepped outside to water the plants, the world seemed strangely still, like the neighborhood was holding its breath. That was when I caught a glimpse through the open kitchen window, next door. Rachel stood by the counter, her back turned slightly toward me, sunlight brushing the curves of her shoulders. Her hair, thick, wavy, silver-kissed, fell freely down her robe. She hummed softly, almost absent-mindedly, the kind of hum that belongs to people who've learned how to survive silence. I froze. She turned her head, met my eyes, and smiled. Not shy, not embarrassed, just knowing. "If you want to look," she said calmly, "just ask." I swear I forgot how to breathe. That single line ricocheted inside my skull for days, haunted me in a way that didn't hurt, but didn't let go either. I'm Jacob, 38, divorced for almost 2 years. I moved into this quiet suburban neighborhood, hoping for peace or numbness, or whatever comes after heartbreak. I didn't expect to find anything resembling connection, certainly not with a woman like her. Rachel, my 50-year-old neighbor, the widow everyone whispered gently about. She moved through the world with that soft, grounded grace that comes from living through storms and learning not to break. We started with polite nods over the fence, small talk about the stubborn tomatoes that wouldn't ripen, the new family down the street, the stray cat that claimed her porch. She had the kind of presence that made you feel like ordinary moments were important. A week after that morning at the window, she caught me wrestling with my broken gait. "You're doing that wrong," she called, leaning against her porch rail with a mug of tea. I grinned, pretending confidence I absolutely did not have. "Then come teach me, neighbor." She laughed, that warm, low sound that makes air feel lighter, not loud, not flirty, just genuine. She walked over and gently took the hammer from my hand, showed me how to hold it properly, how to angle the hinge. Our fingers brushed for maybe half a second. It was enough. Enough to feel something I had forgotten how to feel. That quiet spark you don't see coming. That crack in the wall you pretend you don't notice. Soon, tea on her porch became a ritual. Evenings dipped in gold, with stories shared between sips. She told me about her garden, her late husband, the ache that never fully left but didn't drown her anymore. I told her about my marriage, how two people who once held each other tightly somehow drifted into separate worlds. She listened, really listened, not with pity, but with understanding shaped by her own scars. "You didn't fail," she said softly one night, her fingers brushing mine. "You just loved the wrong person for too long." I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that until she said it. One evening, I brought coffee instead of tea. She lifted a brow, amused. "You try to change our tradition?" Maybe I just wanted an excuse to stay longer, I admitted. She held my gaze for a moment too long. "Jacob, you don't need an excuse." That night, her voice echoed in my mind long after I went home. It wasn't desire that kept me awake. It was connection. That rare feeling that someone sees you clearly, without judgment or expectation. Then came the night it rained. She sat on her porch wrapped in a blanket, watching the storm. The warm light behind her made her look like she belonged to the rain, soft, untouched, real. I hesitated at my door, then walked over. "You'll get soaked," she warned gently. "Then share your blanket," I said. She laughed and shifted the blanket for me. The scent of jasmine floated from her skin. The thunder rolled like an old memory. She spoke softly. "People don't listen to the rain anymore. They just hide from it. Maybe they just need someone to listen with," I said. She turned to me, eyes warm and steady. We didn't speak after that. The rain spoke for us. When I stood to leave, she caught my wrist lightly. "Jacob," she whispered, "if you ever want to look, just ask." I smiled, not because I understood everything she meant, but because for the first time in years, I wanted to understand someone. Truly, morning routines changed after that. I woke earlier without trying. She'd be on her porch by 6, hair tied lazily, tea steaming, eyes soft in the morning light. Our conversations drifted from weather to childhood stories to the complicated ways pain reshapes a life. She left small notes sometimes. "Fresh scones for you. Drink water. Sunscreen. Don't argue. I hadn't been cared for in a long time, and Rachel cared in small, quiet ways that slipped under your guard without your permission. Then came the yard sale. Mr. Harper, nosy, retired, chronically opinionated, looked between us and smirked. Didn't know you liked 'em young, he said to Rachel, like he expected her to laugh. Heat crawled up my neck. Rachel's smile stayed steady, but her eyes dulled. We're neighbors, I said evenly. And friends. Sure, Harper chuckled. Friendly neighbors. He walked away, leaving that bitter aftertaste behind him. Rachel swallowed hard, still arranging items on her table. He talks because he's lonely, she said. He thinks noise equals company. She handed me an old teapot. Take this. It needs a new story. Later, she followed me into my house to drop off the box. She paused in my kitchen, fragile in a way I hadn't seen before. Come in, I said softly. No audience here. She sat at my table, fingers brushing the rim of the teapot. After my husband died, she started slowly. I found messages, receipts, things I never asked for because I trusted him. Everyone called me strong for standing by him. But no one knew I grieved two men, the one I loved and the one I never really knew. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't speak. She reached across the table, sliding her fingers into mine. I don't tell people that part, she whispered. They like cleaner stories, easier ones. I'm not people, I said. She smiled faintly. I know. That moment cracked something open between us. Not romance, not desire, but something deeper. Honesty. We made a pact that day. Let the neighborhood keep its stories, she said, and we'll keep ours honest. I squeezed her hand. What's ours? Right now, she whispered. Just two hands on a table. And truth. I could have stayed in that moment forever. But storms don't wait. That night, thunder shattered quiet. Rain hammered windows. Around 9, the power flickered and died. I saw candlelight through Rachel's window, then her shadow, then a knock. I opened the door to find her soaked, barefoot, wrapped in a blanket. My power's out, she said shakily, and I can't find the fuse box. I grabbed a flashlight and followed her home. Candles flickered across her kitchen walls, painting her face in soft amber. Her robe clung to her slightly. Her hair curled from rain. She led me to the basement stairs. The fuse box is down there, she said, but it's haunted. So your job. I grinned. I charged by the hour. Tease, she whispered. Down the stairs, the air buzzed, not just from the storm, from something else. Something unspoken but undeniably there. I fixed the breaker, and the house hummed back to life. Rachel exhaled in relief. You just saved me from the dark, she said. I doubt you're ever truly in the dark, I murmured. You glow even in candlelight. She shook her head, laughing softly. Flattery works better when it isn't a lie. Then let me prove it. Her smile faded, not in rejection, more in fear. Jacob, don't. Why not? Because I don't want to mistake loneliness for affection, she said. And I don't want you to either. Her honesty struck harder than any thunder outside. We went upstairs and sat at her kitchen table. She poured tea with steady hands, though her eyes told a different story. Lightning flashed. She flinched, and I instinctively reached out, covering her hand with mine. I used to love storms, she murmured, until my husband's accident. It rained that night. I'm sorry, I whispered. Don't be. I'm learning to like the sound again. Maybe it's time. She looked at me, candlelight flickering in her eyes, vulnerability and strength woven together. Jacob, she whispered, voice trembling, I haven't felt seen in years. I held her gaze, didn't speak, didn't need to. She lifted her hand, brushed her fingers against my cheek, and whispered a line that had haunted me since the beginning. If you want to look, just ask. My breath hitched. Rachel, I'm already looking. She leaned forward. Our foreheads touched. Then our lips, soft, slow, hesitant. Not passion, not heat, healing. When we pulled apart, the storm outside seemed quieter, like it was listening. "Maybe," she whispered. "We both deserve another chance." The next morning arrived far too quickly. Maddie had barely slept, her mind replaying Leon's last look before the elevator doors closed. His face had been a battlefield. Hurt pushed down under forced calm, disappointment layered over a deeper wound. She had spent the entire night on her couch, staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of the wall clock like distant accusations. "You really messed this one up," she whispered to herself. But dawn brought clarity and resolve. She wasn't going to hide behind fear anymore. Not from her job, not from her feelings, and definitely not from Leon. When she walked into the office at precisely 8:02 a.m., the entire floor went still. She was never late. Her heels always clicked across the tiles like a countdown. But today, they hesitated, soft, almost uncertain. People peeked from their desks, shocked to see the woman who once seemed carved from stone now visibly human. Maddie took a long breath and marched straight to HR. Kayla, the HR director, looked up from her computer and froze. "Madison, are you okay? You look human." Maddie finished with a faint smile. "Yes, I'm aware. I need to file a complaint." Kayla blinked. "Against who?" "Myself." The entire department went silent. "I created a hostile environment," Maddie continued, voice steady. "I allowed unethical behavior. I mistreated an employee, someone who trusted me." Kayla's mouth fell open. "Madison, you don't have to do this." "Yes," she said firmly. "I do." Filing the report didn't feel like defeat. It felt like a long overdue confession. When she walked out, her assistant ran up to her. "Ms. Cole, sorry, Maddie. Leon is in the conference room." He came to submit his resignation. Her stomach plummeted. "No," she whispered, then louder. "No, he can't." She didn't knock. She pushed open the door and found Leon standing at the window, holding a single sheet of paper, his resignation. He didn't turn when she entered. "Don't do this," she said quietly. Leon's voice was calm, but the way his hand trembled gave him away. "You're my boss, and last night proved I'm not strong enough to keep those lines separate. For both our sakes, I need to leave." Maddie stepped closer. "Leon, look at me." He didn't. So she crossed the room and gently touched his arm. "Please." He finally turned. His eyes were tired, his expression guarded. "You hurt me," he said simply. "I know," she whispered. "And I'm sorry. I panicked because I've never risked anything that mattered. Not like this." He swallowed hard. "Then why now?" "Because losing you hurts more than losing control." For the first time since last night, something in his face softened, but he still held the resignation. "Maddie, everyone here thinks you're untouchable. Dating an analyst could start rumors. People will say you're biased, that you're unprofessional. They already say worse behind my back," she said with a small, sad laugh. "But they've never been right. Until last night, I hurt someone because I was afraid of how much I needed him. Maddie," she took the paper from his hand and placed it on the table. "I don't want your resignation. I want a chance." He hesitated, still torn. "I filed a report on myself," she added. "HR will review everything. You'll be transferred to another division. You'll keep your job. No more professional conflict." He blinked, stunned. "You did all that? For me?" "No," she said softly. "For us." Silence filled the room. Thick, tense, hopeful. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked. "You scare me," he confessed. She smiled faintly. "I scare myself." Then, slowly, carefully, like approaching something fragile, he reached for her hand. Their fingers touched, intertwined. "Maddie," he breathed. "If we do this, it has to be real. It already is." She stepped closer, resting her forehead against his. Not dramatic, not cinematic. Just two people trying to rebuild something broken. "I don't want titles or rules," she whispered. "I want you." Leon let out a shaky laugh, a sound full of relief and disbelief. "And I want you," he said. The door suddenly opened and both of them jumped back, startled. It was Kayla. Oh, sorry, she blurted, eyes wide. I didn't know. Uh, actually, I did know. Everyone knows, it's kind of obvious, but forget I said anything. HR will handle the transfer paperwork by noon. She shut the door so fast the glass rattled. Leon stared at the door. She knew. Maddie sighed. Everyone knew. He laughed again, a real, warm laugh this time. Guess we weren't as subtle as we thought. No, she agreed, but maybe that's okay. They walked out of the conference room together. No secrets, no walls, no pretending. The office didn't stop whispering, but for the first time, Maddie didn't care. She didn't walk ahead of him like a queen expecting others to part. She walked beside him. Outside, the sun was breaking through the morning clouds, painting the pavement gold. So what now? Leon asked, echoing their moment from the elevator. Maddie smiled, a real smile, soft and unguarded. Now, she said, taking his hand, we start over. No titles, no rules, just us, together. They stepped into a future neither had planned for, but both finally chose.